our first ever rebuild battle, we have Athens versus PAOK. In real life though, Athens have had a better start to the campaign because they are currently second and PAOK are currently fifth. But in this video, we will have 10 seasons with both teams, and whoever wins the Champions League first wins the rebuild battle. If in those 10 seasons neither team wins the Champions League, we will be keeping track of all the trophies that they have won throughout the entirety of the 10 seasons, and whoever wins the most trophies out of the 10 seasons, providing neither team win the Champions League, wins the head-to-head rebuild battle. We will start this rebuild battle with Athens in Season 1. Now, taking a look at the squad, it looks like they've got a couple of people out of position. You've got Haji Safi as a left-back playing centre-back. You've got Pineda as a winger playing centre midfielder. You've got Mantalos as a cam playing the striker. It's a bit all over the place, to be honest. However, they do have a pretty solid starting 11, as well as decent squad depth on the subs bench as well as a decent reserves too. But you guys know me, I'm not a fan of the 3 at the back or 5 at the back formation, so we're going to switch this up to better benefit the team, and then we'll go from there. And with 22 million in the bank for Athens to start Season 1, we can make a pretty good change to this team. And we began this transfer window by getting rid of the old wood by selling off Georgios for 710,000. Also selling Nordin Amrabat for just over 2 million, as well as selling Jens Johnson for 4.2 million. I then wanted to bolster the defence a bit, so I brought in American centre-back Cameron Carter-Vickers for 8 million. Not before bringing in John Moncayola and Pepelu for 16.1 million combined. Leaving the team looking like this going into Season 1 of this rebuild battle. As you can see, I've changed the formation from that 3 at the back formation to a 4-3-3 attacking variation. I feel like this formation gets the best out of every player on that pitch. Don't get me wrong, this team has got a long way to go before we can even think about the Champions League, but so is PAOK, so let's go over to them. Next time we see these guys, it'll be the end of Season 1. So this is PAOK's default starting 11. They rock with the 4-3-3 attacking variation. Actually, that'll be quite interesting. We're going to rock with the same formation and see who does better. But as you can see, there's a lot of room for improvement in this team. Like, there's a couple of 60-odd rated players in the team. We definitely need a better keeper, because obviously Athens keeper's 74 rated, Katarski's 68 rated. I know he's 22 years old, don't get me wrong, but it's still not going to be good enough. And I believe PAOK has got the same budget as Athens did have, 24 million, and we all know what we did with that money with Athens. In comparison to Athens, we only made one sale with PAOK, and that was Jasmine Kurtic for 4.25 million. And I told you guys we needed a keeper, that's why I opted for Venezuelan goalkeeper Joel Greaterall for just 5 million. I then decided to bolster that centre-back position, so I brought in 6'5" giant English centre-back Tosin Adarabayo for just 7 million. And lastly, I wanted to bolster the midfielder position. Considering it was aging, I wanted to inject some youth, and that's why I opted for Zakowski for 8.4 million. Leaving the team looking like this going into the Season 1 of this head-to-head rebuild battle. And you know what? I'd actually argue that both Athens and PAOK are pretty even going into Season 1 of this rebuild battle. Athens certainly have the better striker, but at this moment in time, Greaterall is better than Athens keeper. It's certainly going to be interesting to see who comes out on top in Season 1, considering they've both got even teams. So without further ado, let's go to the end of Season 1 for Athens and see how they fared. We have arrived at the end of Season 1 for Athens, and we are currently at the bottom of the Turkish league. This is what we're looking at, and we're going to go from bottom to the very top. Now, I'm not too sure where Athens would actually finish in the Turkish Super League. I'm not too sure, but I tell you what, no way. Oh my god! In the first season, they went on to win the Turkish Super League. They beat Galatasaray to it by 1 freaking point. Everybody else, it was clear as day that they weren't on their league. It was between Galatasaray and Athens come out on top. So straight away, that's already 1 trophy for Athens' collection. They didn't, however, win the Turkish League Cup because that honour goes to Galatasaray, beating Koyunspor 5-1. And just to keep you guys updated with the European competitions, Nice went on to win the Europa Conference League. It was Sevilla who went on to beat Celtic 4-3 to win the Europa League. And then we won't bother with the Super Cup because Madrid are beating Frankfurt every single year. So in the Champions League, it is Real Madrid who beat Leverkusen 5-4 on penalties. This part always intrigues me. Let's see how they've done stats-wise. Pineda, the Mexican winger, came in clutch. Over 30 goal contributions this season from 37 games. Garcia, the Trinidad and Tobago winger, went up to 79 rated, 25 years old. 17 goal contributions this season. season. Sergio Arujo, 31 years old, 76 rated, went on to get 14 goal contributions, and then it's just bog standard stats really. Aside from the fact that Pepel, who went up to 79 rated, gained 14 goal contributions this season. It isn't a bad start for Athens at all. They are crowned the Turkish champions in the first season. They didn't win the League Cup, but the stats are looking very solid, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the team actually looks in season 2. But that's Athens. Let's see how PAOK did. So we are at the end of season 1 for PAOK season. We are once again at the bottom of the Super League, and we're going to work our way from the bottom to the top like we did with Athens. So let's see where PAOK have finished this time. I have no idea where they finished. So the top 6. Oh, okay. Athens have taken the lead here. Okay, so Galatasaray won the league by 5 points. Jesus Christ. PAOK were 23 points away from first place Galatasaray. That's nuts. At this moment in time, it does look like Athens, like in real life, have definitely got the edge on PAOK. They didn't win the Turkish League Cup either. That honour goes to Galatasaray once again, who beat Fenerbahce 3-2 in the final. And to once again keep you guys updated on the European competitions, we've got Nice winning the Europa Conference League, with Stade Rennais winning the Europa League, and then in the Champions League, it was PSG who won that. Now this is where I'm curious, because they may not have done as well as Athens, but the stats could be a little bit better. See what I mean? Nelson Oliveira, 74 rated, 31 years old, 28 goal contributions this season. You got Zivokovic, 78 rated, the Serbian winger, got himself 32 goal contributions this season. The German winger, 28 years old, gone up to 75 rated, 18 goal contributions as well. You got Zurkowski, who went up to 80 rated this season. What a signing he was for bloody PAOK. 5 goals and 5 assists this season. Other than that though, it's pretty bang average. But I think it's safe to say after season 1, Athens have got the lead because their trophy count is 1 and PAOK's is 0. But that is only season 1, and we've got 9 more seasons for either team to either win the Champions League or collect as many trophies as humanly possible. So this is how season 2 starting 11 looks for Athens. I think that one of the things that we have to do is make sure that we get a brand new keeper, because Stankovic isn't as good as PAOK's goalkeeper. As well as that, we could do with bolstering the defence just a little bit more. Sadibi and Carter Vickers are actually pretty decent, but Makoudi and Mohammadi aren't exactly the best players in the world. With Mohammadi being 29 years old, I can't see him improving all that much from now until the end of the season either. Everywhere else though, for now, actually looks very solid. We did the work with the midfield last season, and it turned out to be a very good decision. We also brought in Carter Vickers in last season, which turned out to be a very good decision. So I think we just need to keep doing the same for them. And we've got £24 million in the bank to work with this time. The board haven't increased or decreased the budget. We've been given the exact same as last season. And we began that transfer window by sorting out one of the areas that I initially spoke about, and that was by bringing in a brand new goalkeeper by the name of Bernardoni for £8 million. And I wanted to bolster that left back position just a little bit more, and that's why I brought in Oscar Dawley for £15.3 million. Which leaves the team looking like this going into season 2 of this head-to-head rebuild battle. And at this moment in time, I've got to say Athens do look to have the better team overall, but that's only because right now we have just finished their transfer window. We've got a whole transfer window to do with PAOK yet, so who knows what that team can look like after we've finished with it. But as we know, Athens are in the lead when it comes to the trophies. They won the Turkish Super League, which does mean one thing. Athens had the chance to qualify for the Champions League, and we faced off against Young Boys and we beat them quite convincingly overall over the 2 legs, which means we are into the Champions League in season 2 with Athens. We are in Group B, joined by Barcelona, Manchester United and Celtic. Now don't get me wrong, don't get it twisted. I'm not expecting Athens to top this table or even finish second, because this is a very tough group. However, the fact that Athens are already in the Champions League, all the pressure's on PAOK now. Now this is how PAOK's team looks at the beginning of season 2. I would argue that the midfield trio is a little weaker than Athens. I'd say the front 3 is definitely weaker than Athens. However, the back 4 and the goalkeeper is where they are stronger than Athens. So it's quite evident where we really need to try and improve the striker role and maybe the midfield. And in season 2, we've been given a little bit less money to work with than Athens, with 16 million in the bank. But I am going to try my absolute best to make as much of that £16 million count as possible. And we did begin this transfer window by selling on Portuguese striker Nelson Oliveira for £4.2 million. Now I completely messed up here, admittedly. Khalid Nari had his release clause activated and I had no idea about it, so he went for £7.8 million. But in my defense, we did bring in a very very, very good striker in Kasper Dolberg for 20 million. Which leaves the team looking like this going into PAOK Season 2 of this head-to-head rebuild battle. Now, in terms of the right winger position, we have this guy currently converting to a right winger as we speak. It's definitely not ideal, and I did try my best to find a winger who was suitable for that position, but I couldn't find anybody with the funds that we had left. To be fair though, he is 20 years old, he's 68 rated, he could actually be a hidden gem, we never know until the end of this season. But aside from the fact that the right wing is not even 70 rated, the rest of the team looks very goddamn polished. Kasper Dolberg, I'm expecting big things from this guy this season. And if you think about it, PAOK haven't got any pressure on them at all this season. It's Athens that have the pressure. They've got the league to contend with as well as the Champions League. PAOK, they'll be in the league, obviously. They may be in a European competition, but in terms of pressure, it's all on Athens, which could definitely bode well for PAOK at the end of this season. So without further ado, let's go to the end of Season 2 to see how Athens went on. We are at the end of Athens Season 2 campaign. We are at the bottom of the Turkish League like we were last season. We're going to do it the exact way every single time. Now, bear in mind, last season, they won the league by 1 point, beating Galatasaray to that. So I am expecting... Oh, okay. They finished 5th this season, 20 points behind Besiktas, who won the league entirely. To be fair, Galatasaray were nowhere near Besiktas either. They were 10 points behind them themselves, but Athens have taken a massive backstep in terms of progression. I told you, the Champions League, it takes its toll on you. They also didn't win the Turkish League Cup. That honour goes to Trabzonspor, beating Galatasaray 2-0. FC Midtjylland went on to win the Europa Conference League. Ajax won the Europa League. And as I predicted, Athens did not make it out of Group B. So hang on, that's curious. Where did they end up in the Europa League? Okay, so... Oh, okay, so they got the absolute backsides handed to them by Leicester City. 6-2 on aggregate. Jesus Christ. But in the end, it was Dortmund who went on to win the Champions League. For Athens standard last season, it's been a poor season for them. Let's have a look at their stats. Okay, Sergio Arujo. We may have to consider getting Athens a brand new striker for next season because this guy, whilst he's been phenomenal for them the past 2 seasons, he is going down quite significantly now. He's 75 rated, 32 years old, but he's got 31 goal contributions in 50 games. Not bad going at all. With Garcia, 81 rated. Now the Trinidad and Tobago winger got 29 goal contributions this season. Pineda got 25 goal contributions this season. The Mexican winger went up to 79 rated. And then everywhere else, it's really... Apart from Pepelu, actually. 81 rated, 25 years old. 17 goal contributions this season. Not too bad at all. All things considered, Athens' campaign this season has been a pretty big L. They finished 5th when they finished 1st last season. They didn't make it out of the Champions League group stage, which we did expect to be fair. But in the quarters of the Europa League, they got their backsides handed to them. This is a prime opportunity now for PAOK to strike and even the game up. We are at the end of PAOK Season 2 campaign like we have always done. We are going to go from the bottom to top. Now, last season, they finished 5th. So we're going to go straight to 5th place. They aren't 5th. Okay, are they 4th? Are they 3rd? No. Okay. Could they have won the Super League in the second... Oh, okay, that was pretty close, though. Galatasaray only beat them by 2 points, bearing in mind. PAOK, considering last season they finished 5th, they finished 2nd this season. They've had a massive bit of progression there. However, just like Athens, they are yet to win the Turkish League Cup. Besiktas won this time, beating Trabzonspor 2-1. And like I predicted, they made it out of the group stage of the Conference League. Rapid Vienna went through almost unbeaten. 5 wins from a possible 6. That's not bad at all. They got 10 points going through to the prelim round, where they beat... Bloody hell, that's not bad at all. 5-1 against, I believe that's Lille. If I'm wrong, I'm sure you guys will let me know in the comments down below, but they beat them 5-1, so they're in the round of 16. They beat Djurgårdens IF 7-2 on aggregate. Jesus Christ, okay. They got to the quarters, beating FC Midtjylland 4-2 on aggregate, and then they got to the semi-finals, where they lost out to Atalanta 4-3 on aggregate. That's not bad at all. And the eventual winners were Rayo Vallecano beating Atalanta 3-2 in the final. Nope. PSG won the Super Cup, and Leverkusen went on to win the Champions League, beating Barca. Now, I'm guessing from the league finish and the Conference League finish alone that our stats this... Oh my God, Kasper Dolberg... 42 goal contributions this season, 80 rated now as well. Absolutely the right decision to gamble on him. Absolutely the right decision. Zivkovic, 80 rated now, 27 years old. He got himself 40 goal contributions as well. What a season he had. We got Steven Schwab, 33 years old, 75 rated, 27 goal contributions this season. Tarkowski, 18 goal contributions as well. Brandon Thomas from the subs went 12 goals and 1 assist. And Constantali is 73 rated. He's grown 5 overall this season, 21 years old, 5 goals, 2 assists. That's not good at all, to be fair, is it? Let's be completely honest. I think even though he has done very well, grown as well as he has done, we definitely need to get them a better winger next season. But even with PAOK's second place finish this season, Athens do still remain in the lead with 1 trophy to their name, with Athens 0. So we go into season 3. It's still very close, but it's getting a little bit tasty now that we are in European competitions. So here is Athens' team at the beginning of season 3. We definitely need to get them a new striker and maybe another centre-back or full-back. Everywhere else actually looks pretty solid going into this season. The midfield trio look pretty decent. The front 3, once we get a new striker, will definitely look a lot stronger. But really, Athens' team is actually pretty solid. And Athens' board have definitely shat on us a little bit this season, only giving us 16 million to work with. And we started the transfer window by getting rid of some of the deadwood still on the team. We started that with Malad Mohammadi for 3.3 million, Galanapolos for 6.3 million, and finally Athanasiadis for 2.8 million. Not before bringing in a much needed striker and Peter Musa for 17.4 million. Which leaves Athens' team looking like this going into, I believe it's season 3 of this rebuild battle, and quite frankly, it's looking pretty good. There's only a couple of spots now that do need improving. Moncayola could do with improving a little bit more. Makudi could do with improving a little bit more. Sidibe, he's on his last legs now. He's 32 years old. We will be looking at that next season. But really, it's a really well-rounded team, and we just need a couple of big money signings, and Athens will be well on the way in the Champions League. But for now, they are in the Conference League. They're in Group D, joined by Braga, Austria Vienna, and Augsburg. Like last season, I'm not going to predict anything. I'm just going to see what happens. But for now, that's all we can do with Athens until the end of the season. So let's go to PAOK and see what they're rocking with. And this is what PAOK's starting 11 looks like going into season 3. As you can see, a couple of players are on international duty. However, there's a couple of spots that do need improving. I'm still a little bit torn with this guy. I'm not too sure whether give him one more season to see how he improves or just to get another right winger. He proved to be quite a good player last season. He didn't get many goals or assists, but he definitely improved quite a bit. I'm not too sure. I'll have to figure that out as we go along. But I think what I'm going to do is bring in another centre midfielder and maybe another fullback for the defence. And with 23 million, I am almost certain I can make that happen. And we began that transfer window by selling on Jones Sastre for 10 million on the dot. Not before selling Stefan Schwab for 2.35 million and Brandon Thomas for just over 2 million as well. And I decided to go pretty big with the 2 signings that I made this season, starting off with Enoch Mwepu for 19.1 million and Jorge Sanchez for 20 million. Leaving the team looking like this going into season 3 of this rebuild battle head to head, and it looks pretty goddamn good if you ask me. The back four's coming along very nicely. Suarez, he isn't going to last much longer, but there's always next season for that. And this man right here has managed to keep his position intact. I'm going to keep him for 1 season longer, see what he can do, and then if he performs as well as he did last season, I'm going to say goodbye to him, because if he's in that position, I want at least 10 goal contributions, maybe even 15 to be honest, at the bare minimum, and he didn't even get 10. But the team's looking pretty solid now. The midfield is looking strong. The front 3 is looking pretty decent. The back 4, like I said, is coming along, but that's not the only thing that's coming along. PAOK have made the jump from the Conference League to the Champions League this season. They are in Group D, joined by Real Madrid, Arsenal, and Copenhagen. I'll be honest with you, I can't see PAOK getting past those, so I'll probably see PAOK going into the Europa League. I can't see us finishing bottom, but it is what it is. We have done all we can with PAOK. Let's go to the end of Athens Season 3 and see how they fare. We are at the end of Athens Season 3 campaign, and we are going to work away from the bottom to top like we always have been. Now, I believe last season they finished 5th, so anything above that would be an improvement for them. So they're not 5th. Okay, that's good. That's good. 4th. Okay. Ooh, okay. They did climb up the ladder a little bit, but it wasn't quite enough. They were 9 points off first place Fenerbahce, then it was 6 points off second place Galatasaray, but it is a little bit of progression. They have added another trophy to their cabinet, however, after beating Kayserispor 3-1 in the Turkish League Cup final. So that's 2 to Athens, 0 to PAOK at the minute. They made it out of the group stage, finishing second behind Braga. Okay, so they got to the prelim round. Oh, actually, yes, they did go to the prelim round where they beat Young Boys 3-1 on aggregate. They get to the round of 16. where they beat Braga 4-2 on aggregate. Okay, so they got to the quarters where they lost out to Real Betis 3-2 on aggregate. And in the end, it was Real Betis who went on to win the entire damn thing. So at least they lost to the winners. Then Monaco went on to win the Europa League, and Liverpool won the Champions League. Pineda looks like he was the player of the season this time. 28 goals, 13 assists. Then you had Garcia, 24 goals, 14 assists. And then Musa in his debut season with 39 games played due to injury, I'm assuming. He still got 20 goal contributions, which isn't bad at all. But in fairness, this season for Athens was a humongous W. They got another trophy to their cabinet, which means it's 2-0 to Athens at this moment in time, 3 seasons in. But we don't know how PAOK have done this season yet. So without further ado, let's go to PAOK. So we are at the end of PAOK's campaign. We're going to start from the bottom to top like we always have been. Okay, I think they finished second last season, so if they're in the top 5, they're still good. Okay, so not 5th, not 4th, they're not oh my god, they're not 3rd. Oh my god, they won it! They have finally won the Turkish Super League by 1 point, beating Fenerbahce to it. Nevertheless, they still do it, and that is 1 trophy finally in PAOK's trophy cabinet for this rebuild battle. Oh my god, boys, they've absolutely smashed it this season. They've got the double. They have won the Turkish League Cup. They have made it 2-2 in the span of only 1 season. PAOK are not to be taken lightly anymore. West Ham won the Conference League. I could swear blind that Real Madrid were in PAOK's group stage. Well, I'll be damned, PAOK actually got through to the round of 16. Holy shit, okay. So, who did they play in the round of 16? Oh, they only crashed out to Juve. It was 4-3 to be fair. It wasn't exactly a hammering, but nevertheless, Juve did win. And in the final, it was Barcelona who won. And stats-wise, boys, oh my god, Kasper Dolberg, it's freaking phenomenal. 48 goal contributions in 55 games. Jesus Christ, I bought good strikers for both teams, but it looks like at the minute Dolberg's doing better. Mwepu, 30 goal contributions this season. That is outrageous stuff. Zivkovic, 34 goal contributions this season. Suarez, 8 goal contributions from the fullback position. Sikowski, 19 goal contributions as well. This team has done spectacularly well this season. Constantelius is only gone up to 75 rated. Maybe next season is the time that we'll be on the lookout for a better winger for PAOK. But right now, going into season 4, it is neck and neck, and it does look like PAOK have the advantage so far in this rebuild. This is how Athens' team looks going into season 4 of this rebuild battle, and by the looks of it, all they need now is a better centre-back, a better right-back, a better cam, and they're alright. However, with only 21 million in the bank, there's only so much you can do. And we began that transfer window by selling on central attacking midfielder Mijat Gancinovic for just 6.5 million. Not before bringing in his replacement, who happened to be English central attacking midfielder Eberiche Eze for 20.4 million. Which leaves Athens' team looking like this. Now, it's literally just that centre-back position and this right-back position that need improving, and this team's actually pretty goddamn solid in the Champions League. It really doesn't help at the fact that we never get more than £30 million a year to spend anyways, so we can only do so much with the money that we've been given. However, Sidibe is retiring at the end of this season, so next season that will probably be at the top of the priority list to buy a new right back. However, if we do have enough money left over, a centre back will be brought in for Mikudi. And on top of that, Athens are once again in Europe, this time in the Europa League in Group B, joined by PSV, Hearts and Lech Poznan. And do you know what? That could go either way. I mean, Athens have a pretty good team at the minute, but so does PSV. Hearts are no pushover. I'm not too sure about Lech Poznan. However, this is all we can do at this point. We're going to go back to PAOK and see what they're rocking with. And this is how PAOK's team is looking at the start of this season. I have to admit, taking a quick look at this team, Athens' team is a little bit more well-rounded than this team. They've got a better central attacking midfielder, better winger, better fullback. I do believe that the centre-backs will improve as the season progresses, but they need another fullback, cam, and a winger. And like I was just saying, with only 26 million in the bank, there is literally only so much you can do. I wanted to get rid of a lot of deadwood in that transfer window when we started with Douglas Augusto for just over 18 million, Felipe Suarez for 6 million, not before bringing in Brazilian fullback Cao Enrique for 22.3 million, and the big one, we brought in Oscar Melendo for 28.6 million, which leaves the team looking like this going into season 4, I believe, of this rebuild battle. And it's literally just the right winger position in the two centre-backs that let this team down. Otherwise, it's a stellar team in the Champions League. And speaking of, PAOK are once again in the Champions League. This time they were up against Real Madrid, Milan and PSV in Group D, and that is quite literally the group of death. I don't know how they're going to get on, but considering last season they did get through to the round of 16, it wouldn't surprise me with a better team that they'd do the exact same. But right now we're going to travel back to Athens and see how they got on. We are at the end of Athens season. We're starting from the bottom as we always do. Now, I can't actually remember where they finished last season. It's been a while, not going to lie. So they're not the top 5. The top 4. Oh, okay, they finished 3rd this time, and it's getting closer. That gap between 1st and 3rd is definitely getting closer every single season. No more trophies to add from the Super League, but they're definitely still up there. But they do add another trophy to their tally. I believe that's 3-2 to Athens now by beating Umraniyespor 3-0. United won the Conference League. Athens easily swept aside the competition in the Europa League group stage, finishing undefeated out of 6 games. They went on to the round of 16 against Nice and beat Nice 4-3 on aggregate. That's actually quite impressive, you know. In the quarters, that, oh my god, what the Man City, man, really, of all teams to face, they come up against Man City. Fair play, Man City thrashed Athens 6-1 on aggregate, but in the end it was Celtic who won the freaking Europa League with Manchester City in it, and Bayern Munich won the Champions League. I'm quite intrigued to see who was the top goal scorer this time. Peter Musa, 81 rated, 36 goal contributions in 57 games, not bad at all. Orbelin Pineda, 30 years old, 82 rated, 28 goals, 11 assists this time. You got Levi Garcia, 83 rated, 24 goals, 14 assists. Then you got Moncayola, 81 rated, 9 goals, 8 assists. Oscar Dawley got 7 goals as well. And then you got Pepelu hiding at the bottom with 19 goal contributions this season. Athens season this time, it's been alright to say the least. I mean, they added another trophy to the trophy cabinet, making it 3-2 so far, but now it's PAOK's turn. We have arrived at the end of PAOK's campaign this season, and like we have always done, we're going to start from the bottom to top. I can't remember where they finished last season, so let's see where they finished this season. The top 5 at least. The top 4. The top 3. Hang on. Could they have won the league again? They've won the league again. Oh my god, they've absolutely smashed it this season. Only losing 1 out of 36 games in this campaign. They absolutely smashed it. And have by a mile had the most convincing win in the league so far between Athens and PAOK. So that is 1 more trophy to their collection. And you can add another one because they've only gone and won the Turkish League Cup, beating Galatasaray 3-1 to do so. Meanwhile, it was Castle who won the Europa Conference League. Chelsea went on to win the Europa League. So PAOK ended up absolutely smashing the group stage. They won 4 out of a possible 6 in what could arguably be called the group of death. So they went on to the round of 16 where they faced off against Porto, beating them 3-2. They advanced to the quarters. Okay. They beat Spurs 4-2. Alright, I mean, I'm not too surprised at that, but when you actually think about it, Spurs have got a ridiculous team on FIFA 23. So, when you consider how good PAOK's team is compared to Spurs, that is ridiculous. Okay, we go into the semi-finals. They beat Barcelona 4... Bro, there's no way. There is no way in hell. It looks like Manchester City and PAOK were in the final, so let's see if PAOK have once and for all ended this rebuild battle. Right. Oh my god, they were close. They only lost 2-1 to Manchester City. Boys, Athens are in deep shit if they can't pull something out of the bag next season, because PAOK looks to me like they are on a warpath. And the moment of truth, let's have a look at their stats. Oh my god, boys, Kasper Dolberg has turned out to be an incredible signing for PAOK. 35 goals, 9 assists in 58 games. That's ridiculous. Mwepu, 28 goals, 11 assists from the centre midfielder position. That's ridiculous. You got Zivkovic, 82 rated, with 26 goals, 15 assists as well from the winger position. You got Constantelius, 77 rated now at 23 years old, 11 goals, 3 assists. I mean, we have given this guy plenty of opportunity. He has grown, but not to the standards that PAOK are expecting. So, quite frankly speaking, I think that is one of the primary objectives for next season's transfer window, to get a better right winger. On top of that, you got Sikowski with over 15 goal contributions. Melendo had a bit of a shocker this season, but it's his first season and the club will let him off. But going into season 5, PAOK have finally taken the lead by winning the double. PAOK have come agonizingly close to ending this rebuild battle right here, right now. The question is, can they replicate this form going into next season, or is this just a one-season wonder? We are at the start of the next season for Athens, and let me tell you something, it's lucky that Athens have another season to compete because PAOK very nearly ended it last season, so these guys need to butt their ideas up. It's very clear they need a new centre-back and they need a new right-back. And we only have 23 mil to work with, so the board aren't exactly helping us either. And I wanted to start the transfer window off by selling on centre-back Harold Makudi for just over 13 million, alongside selling Clement Michelin for 3.55 million. Not before bringing in Federico Gatti for just over 14 million. And lastly, we definitely needed a right-back, so I brought in a very experienced one at that with Benjamin Pavard for just over 17 million. Which leaves the team looking like this going into this season of the rebuild battle against PAOK, and it's the first season I can actually say there's no weaknesses in this team now. Every single position in the starting 11 is 81 rated or above. It is looking good, it is looking healthy, and considering the little budget we've been given, I'd say we've done Athens proud. And on top of that, they are in the Europa League once again, joined by PSV, FC Midtjylland and Legia Warsaw in Group G, and with the team that they've got now, I'm pretty sure they can run rampant. However, we have done all we can for Athens this season. It's now PAOK's turn. And this is our PAOK lineup for this season of the rebuild battle. It's quite obvious where they need improvement, that right winger position, and I'm thinking maybe this centre-back, because he's 32 years old now. Ingerson has been absolutely tremendous for them, but it might be time to cash in on him and get a better centre-back in his place. Bear in mind, this team got to the Champions League final last season, so this might be the season they actually end this entire goddamn video. And stunningly, PAOK have been given just under 40 million to work with, and I'm pretty sure that we can sort out all of PAOK's issues with that money. And I did begin this transfer window by selling on Ingi Ingerson for just over 16 million. Not before selling on the converted right winger Constantelius for 16.2 million. We then brought in Jonathan Iconi for just over 23 million. Not before bringing in German giant Jonathan Tah for 25 million. Which leaves the team looking like this going into PAOK's campaign this season. And the thing is now, I've got to say this, I tried as hard as possible to buy as evenly and as fair as possible for both teams. However, it just looks like the potential for this team has outgrown the other team. The only weakness that PAOK have really got is Adara Bio, but realistically speaking, it's not that much of a big deal when you consider the quality around him. And when you consider that a weaker team than this got to the Champions League final last season, you never know what could happen. And speaking of the Champions League, they are once again in the competition. They are in Group B, joined by Barcelona, Benfica and Dynamo Kiev. It's a far easier group this time, and if they got through last time, sure as to God they got to go through this time. But that's all we can do for PAOK now. Let's go to Athens and see how they have got on. We have reached the end of Athens' campaign this season, and let's see where they finished this time. Okay, I'll be honest with you, I'm so bad for remembering where they finished last season, but nevertheless, they're not okay. The top 5, the top 4, the top 3, have they won the league? Oh my God, they won the league again. Okay. By 1 point though, Jesus Christ. Wasn't as convincing as PAOK was last season, but nevertheless, Athens do win the league, adding one more trophy to their collection. They don't, however, win the Turkish League Cup. That goes to Galatasaray, who beat Fenerbahce 2-1 in the final. Lazio went on to win the Conference League. Oh my God, Athens are in the bin when it comes to Europe. They didn't even make it out to the group stage, so I'm guessing that at some point, they went into the Europa Conference League prelim round where they faced off against Everton. Okay, they faced off against Everton. They went to the round of 16 where they lost to Monaco on penalties 5-4. It's not looking good for Athens at the minute, but it was Wolves who beat Liverpool to win the Europa League 5-4 on penos. And Atletico Madrid went on to win the Champions League. Let's see how they did stats-wise. Musa, man, what a season he had. 36 goal contributions, 52 games. Pineda, 26 goals, 14 assists this season. Not bad at all. Levy Garcia, the Trinidad and Tobago winger, absolutely pulling out the stops. 22 goals, 12 assists this season. Dorley is actually turning out to be a very, very good left back. 7 goals and 2 assists from that fullback position isn't easy. And then you got Pepelu once again with the assists. 5 goals, 17 assists. What a player Pepelu's turned out to be for Athens. But Athens have got to pray to God that PAOK don't have an absolute ridiculous season like they had last time. And we are at the end of PAOK's campaign this season. Like always, going to go from bottom to top. And they wouldn't it last year, so I wouldn't be too surprised with the signings that they made this season. It's looking good. It's looking once again, they have won the Super League. They have won the Turkish League by 5 points this time. Besiktas were the closest ones to them, but other than that, it was an absolute whitewash and PAOK dominated. They have done the double 2 seasons running now. They have beaten Adana Demirspor 2-0 in the Turkish League Cup final. Borussia Mönchengladbach won the Conference League, with Hoffenheim winning the Europa League. And in the group stage, they did tremendously well, unbeaten in 6 games, even beating Barcelona as well. Okay, so they go through to the round of 16 where they face off against Inter Milan, and they beat Inter Milan 4-1 overall. Jesus Christ. Okay, so they go to the quarters. They beat PSG 4-3 on aggregate. Boys, this is nuts. They get to the semis. They beat Barcelona 4-3 as well on aggregate. Boys, could they actually do it? They got to the final last season. Are they able to actually win the Champions League this season and win our first ever head-to-head battle on this channel? They actually have as well. They beat Bayern Munich 2-1 in the Champions League final. They have officially won the rebuild battle. Commiserations to Athens, but PAOK were just better. What a way to end the video as well. PAOK beating Bayern Munich of all teams in the Champions League final. They didn't have an easy run either. They beat bloody Inter Milan 4-1. In the quarters, they beat PSG. In the semis, they beat bloody Barcelona. And in the final, like I've just said, it was Bayern Munich. And stats-wise, let's take a look. Oh my God, Kasper Dolberg. 64 goal contributions in 6. That's absolutely ridiculous. Boys, it's easy to see how they have done as well as they have. 30 goal contributions for Zivkovic. Ikone had 20 goal contributions. Zukowski had over 30 goal contributions. And Weipu had over 25 goal contributions. Even the central attacking midfielder that doesn't get on the pitch got over 15 goal contributions. This was an absolutely crazy season for PAOK. And this is the team that we end this video with PAOK winning the rebuild battle. And considering the fact that neither Athens or PAOK had a decent budget from Season 1 to Season 5, it's actually pretty outstanding how both teams looked at the end of it. But that is where we are going to call this video to an end. If you did enjoy this style of video and want to see more of it, be sure to leave a like, smash the hell out of that subscribe button. If you are new around here, turn that notification bell on so you never miss a video I upload. We are on the road to 6,000 subscribers and we are so freaking close to achieving that goal. And the like goal for today's video is 250 likes. If we can hit that, that would be incredible. Let me know in the comments down below what teams you want to see me put against each other in this head-to-head battle. I have done PAOK and Athens because they are one of the biggest rivals in Greek football, and I'm intrigued to see what you guys want to see next. That is all from me. It has been your boy Gudrun. Hope you guys have an amazing afternoon, and until next time, I'll see you later.